Right guys, welcome back. Today we're making water dishes from air dry clay. I'm just going to show you how I painted them, how I made them. It's pretty cheap. Well, it's a brilliant little project for lockdown. As I say in the video, I'd like if you come up and try this idea, if you message me through Instagram or Facebook or somewhere with your designs. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. Be cool, and we'll bung a load on the channel just to show what everybody else has come up with. As I say, I'm not the best pottery guy, but I think this is where I say it makes it sort of rustic looking. Yeah. But as I said, it's kiln. Right guys, today we are making water dishes out of air dry clay. So what it's, the stuff I use is called gas clay. It's an air dry clay, so you don't need to put it in a kiln or anything. You just leave it out until it's rock solid, and that's it, job done. Also, what I've got is for the skulls, it's like a little mould. I think these are made for chocolates or whatever. I got these off eBay. I think they were about £1 each. It's basically a silicone mould. So what we do, we put some clay into one and you push it all the way down. So it's all nicely in there. And then when you take it out, you're left with a skull. And what you need handy is a little cup of water. This will help the skull adhere to the rest of the clay. And then you just sort of mould it round. And you can use the water to smooth the clay out. Yeah, also to fill up any gaps. Now you want it quite deep. So you can buy sort of clay tools for moulding, but an old knife will do just fine. Now what I'm going to do is do an edge round. Just give it sort of a rustic look. See, I mean, it doesn't really matter how good you are at pottery for these. And I'm not great, these ain't perfect, but I don't think they have to be perfect. You know, as long as it's, you make sure there's no cracks anywhere. You can create something that's quite cool. I mean, this air dry clay, that packet of that I think was £2.99, and that's enough for tons and tons of stuff. You can also use it for backgrounds, creating little models or other bits. Also little tiny bowls, but water helps smooth it all out so you get a nice smooth area. Around the edge you can just give it a bit of texture. But I'd love to see, if you decide to try this at home, if you could PM me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I'd love to put some of your designs up, what you guys have done, to give other people ideas. Let's see, I'll just give it sort of a textured edge. There you go. One water bowl. Now this is a greaseproof paper. I use that because if you do it on any other sort of thing, it's hard to lift them off. And then when you try and lift them off of something, because you're pressing down on it, it'll rip it up and then it'll ruin your design. But now that'll be left to air dry. And once it's air dried, and you'll come up with something like this. It's all solid. There. So what we're going to do now is we're going to apply some paint. Right guys, and what we've done to come to painting. Now this one, yeah, I've just painted all black. So now we're just going to add some grey. Just to get, I want this one to be like a rocky effect. So what I've mixed up is some grey in acrylic paint, and we're going to use the dab technique, which is basically as little as possible. On the sponge itself, and this is just a normal acrylic. And you just build up the colour. On this one here, so it sort of gave it a textured look in the bottom there, so it sort of picks up all the little tiny bits. I think that's a bit, actually a bit dark, so mix up another little tiny bit. Make it a little bit lighter so you can see better on the camera. There you go. So, if you can see that. We just dab it around, build up the colour. Obviously we can do smaller little pots. Just use the same technique. And I think with this one, gonna have it a little bit more grey. Keep the inside nice and black. Like so. So what we're gonna do now leave these to dry off a little bit, and then we're going to come to sealing it. As I said, I mean, you can go to town on these. You've got that one there, which I did the same thing with the skull, but I actually just created little horns for it. I mean, my pottery skills ain't great, but it just goes to show that you can create something quite a little cool, quite quick and easy. Well, once this one's dried out, I'll do exactly the same, but I mean, you don't have to go black and stuff. I mean, I sprayed these with a primer and then painting it black first, and now I'm adding acrylic. And the stuff we're going to use to seal it is pond sealer, which is non-toxic, plus it gives it a total waterproof seal. So there you go. Alright, done a couple of other ones, so these are just painted basically by hand. As you can see, I've just lightly glazed over it. The same with that one, I just wanted it to make it sort of merge, so I've just given it a light sponge over. Now, we're going to seal it. This is the stuff you need. Now, if you're in the States, you might need to have a Google and find a product, but you want the clear stuff. Yeah. Right, this stuff is the stuff you use, G4 Pond Sealer Clear. And this stuff goes a hell of a long way. So, and you need a tiny, tiny little bit. It really does, it's really good, it really goes a long way. And what you need here is an old brush, yeah, because basically once you're done with this, it's impossible to clear out the brushes, so you will just bin them. And then what you need to do is thinner coats the better. I'm going to give this a couple of coats to make sure we have a good seal. Because it's like a plastic coat, so this will give it the waterproofness, if even that is actually a word. It will just make it so the water stays where it is. And this textured one is quite a bit difficult, so I've got to make sure I get into everywhere. So what you do, we'll do all the bits and the top. And then what we're going to do, we're going to turn it over and we're going to do the bottom as well, because obviously the bottom is just clay. So as soon as you put it up against any moisture, yeah, it's just going to wreck it. Yeah, so we'll do all the top first and then we'll let it dry. Then we'll do the top again, and then we'll do a second coat on the top. I'll try not to get it on your hands because it's a nightmare to get off, but this will be tricky. I should have actually worn gloves. I'm going to do a couple. I want to make sure, like when you're doing the backgrounds, you just got to make sure that you've got everywhere covered. That's why on the backgrounds and stuff, I make sure I do a couple of coats. Also, it's a good idea if you're using this stuff and you're gonna have like a few things to seal. I try and seal a load of stuff, so you know, if you're gonna be using stuff for other builds, then you can do all your sealing all at once. And then it's all out of the way. Saves on brushes because, as I said, you're just going to bin these brushes anyway. Once you use them. So it's best to get as much as you can out of the way straight away. And what I do is I usually leave all this outside to air dry off because it stinks the place out. Right. Also, a tip with these jars when you buy the thingy, the top after one use will get welded shut and you'll need mole grips or something to get it off. It's a blooming nightmare. So what I do is a coffee tub with one of these lids, the plastic airtight lids. What I do is decant the whole thing. A 500-gram jar will fit perfectly into a normal coffee jar top. And then it gives it an airtight seal. Keeps for loads for ages and ages and ages. Because it's airtight, it doesn't dry out. Plus, it's easier. You can just use it straight out of that jar. You don't have to pour any into a tub. You can just lift off the top, use what you've got to do. But as I said, a 500-gram tin will last you ages. It goes absolutely miles, this stuff. It's about 13 quid a tin, which is quite expensive, but for the amount of products you can use it on, it's well worth the money. And I use this on everything. It's a brilliant seal. Perfect for building stuff. A lot of people use other stuff, but personally, I just go with this one. I just use what I know. So there we go, guys. All sealed. Just gonna let it dry off now. Then give it a wash, and it'll be ready to use. Quite like the way that one's turned out. But as I said, do 2 coats on the inside just to make sure it's totally waterproof. Thank you. Right, guys, thank you as always for watching. Hope you have fun with that. I'd really like to see what everybody else comes up with if you decide to do it. Also, big thanks to Mr. Tree's Tarantulas. Have a look at their YouTube and Instagram. They'll be going on my work board for everybody else to see. But thanks for those. Have a look at their channel. Great channel. Awesome stuff. Also, we're doing an update video, I think maybe tomorrow. I'm a bit behind on everything at the minute. Also, the Predator build, this one over here. I'm waiting for LEDs and a couple of other bits to arrive before we can go any further with that one, because they need to be fitted. As usual, like, thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you later.